Jake Wentz on Affinity. We saw an Affinity player last round pick up the W. A pair of Galvanic Blasts for Exact, knocking Dan Jessup to 2-1. Jake starts. Yeah, he'll empty the hand, no problem. Here is Memnite, Ornithopter, Springleaf, Drum, Signal Pest. Permanent count 5.
Generally, Tom's pretty happy when his opponent is light on cards in hand.
Not like this.
Nope.
Cards like Smallpox and Raven's Crime look really embarrassing against this draw.
Wrench Mind particularly bad in this matchup.
First, they have artifacts. Second, they don't have cards in hand. Here's Steel Overseer and another Signal Pest. Jake, out of cards. Yes. Well, this is going to be great. Tom can just play all his Shrieking Afflictions now and try to race.
Given that he did not have turn 1 the Rack or Shrieking Affliction, I'd be a little bit surprised to see some on turn 2.
Well, he does Fatal Push the Steel Overseer, and that's really important.
You got to get that one off the table. It's going to be tough from here, though.
Yeah, you see a Thought Seize in Tom's hand. That's already a dead card. Here's Smallpox. A land gone for each player. Tom has to get rid of a card in hand. Jake will get rid of probably an Ornithopter.
Tom not showing up to battle with Ensnaring Bridge this weekend. Not that it would matter against Ornithopter Signal Pests anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely right. Ornithopter will be sacrificed. Over to Jake. 2 Signal Pests and a Memnite. He'll activate Inkmoth Nexus. He drew a land that turn. Swing's going to be for 3 poison and 5 damage, it looks like.
Pretty good.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. We'll see which one wins the race.
You want to have a good spread. Very far behind on Milling Tom, however.
Yeah, the Decimator Web. He's going to need that. Right, that was the one that wins every way. It's like gives him a poison and 2 damage and mills him for 4 or 5.
I think it was 6. They pretended like it was for constructed. Maybe it was for a limited deck.
It was
it's either 4 or 6.
Because it was a 10th, a 10th, and a 10th.
Yep.
It was a 10th of your deck, a 10th of your life, and a 10th of your poison.
I don't remember if it was a 10th of a limited or a constructed deck.
It was good in limited. If you were into
really?
grindy control decks, it's nice.
The card was absurd in limited.
Milling for 6 is more than a 10th in limited. It's a little too fast.
That tracks.
Tom makes Mutavault, says go. A repeat swing here by Jake.
Memnite's hanging back. Jake's not interested in trading that one.
Tom up to 6 poison, and here's an Ornithopter.
Honestly, Stone Raining Tom, keeping him on 1 at most 2 mana seems fine.
Shrieking Affliction from Tom, another Mutavault, and he will leave that back to block and say go.
Technically protecting 3 life every turn with those.
Yeah. The Shrieking Affliction is online.
Quite a bit slower than Jake's clock. And cranial plating there. Played and equipped immediately. That's worth a ton of damage. We have Darksteel Citadel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And there's game to Jake. It's a tough one here for Tom.
Oh yeah. And Mono Black not known for having a lot of artifact hate either.
So look at Tom's sideboard, see if he has some answers here. 3 Delirium Skeins. I don't know if this card's what he wants. 2 Asylum Visitor, 2 Nihil Spellbomb, 2 Bantu's Last Reckoning, 1 Death Shadow. I really like that. Big fan. A Leyline of the Void, a Relic of Progenitus, a Fatal Push, that would be his 4th copy, a Ratchet Bomb, and a Shadow of Doubt.
Fatal Push is great. Ratchet Bomb is great. A little bit slow, but it'll do the job. Then I'm kind of into the Death Shadow. You know, his life total is going to be under duress, so that can be a large creature that can threaten to close the game or at least block something. And you probably have to reach for Bantu's Last Reckoning.
Yeah, I was going to say he plays that one because it's the cheapest sweeper you can play. Mm-hmm. I do like it here. I wouldn't count on it to win the game.
You can be in a lot of trouble against creature lands, certainly if there's a cranial plating, but you just kind of have to go this direction. His targeted discard effects are not very good here.
Yeah, so when you look at his main deck, 4 Inquisition of Kozilek, 3 Thoughtseize, 4 Raven's Crime, 3 Wrench Mind. I mean, how many of these even stay in?
You probably see him reaching for Asylum Visitor as well. Not only just because he has all these cards to bring out, but it should be drawing extra cards in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, so is he trying to do a somewhat Jund strategy here of actually drawing extra cards and killing creatures, or I don't know if he has enough cards to do that.
He just has to get rid of all this targeted discard. He can't go too heavy on it. You know, honestly, his best discard spell in the matchup is Funeral Charm, just because it kills a lot of relevant creatures.
Sure, the best discard spell is the one you don't play as a discard spell.
Exactly.
Yeah. On Jake's side, he has 3 Etched Champions. He has one in his split of 3 drops in the main is 3 Masters, 1 Champion. So these are champions numbers 2, 3, and 4. So you can switch his 3-drop slot. He has 2 Dispatch, 2 Stubborn Denial, 2 Whip Flare, 2 Girapur Aether Grid, and then some sideboard cards of Grafdigger's Cage, Sentinel Totem, Wear Tear, and Ancient Grudge.
So Ancient Grudge and Wear Tear can deal with the Rack and or Shrieking Affliction. Those are totally reasonable here. Good chance you'll see one or both. You might bring in Etched Champion because it fades stuff like Fatal Push. It's a little bit slow, can be pretty bad in the smallpox games, though frequently Jake will just have a second creature out there, so that one's fine. Don't love it because it costs 3 though.
So if Tom's removal is Liliana of the Veil and Bantu's Last Reckoning, I'm not sure I'd want to switch my Master of Ethereums for Etched Champions.
Yeah, definitely more into Master here.
Yeah,
it fades some stuff, but it certainly doesn't fade all the stuff. You could see Stubborn Denial because it's good against, you know, Tom's a creatureless deck. It'll counter basically everything. Question is how much you care about the average spell. Certainly in the face of Bantu's Last Reckoning, I'm into using Stubborn Denial. Might be able to leverage that for a game win.
So Tom Ross, you know him here on the SCG Tour. Now living in Roanoke, originally from the Louisiana area, 18 Open Top 8s, 6 wins. That's a great conversion rate, winning 1/3 of his Open Top 8s, winning half of his Invitational Top 8s. Yeah. Remember, all of this is what, in the last 4 years?
Yep. Trophy hunter.
Yeah, really has been one of the most dominant players here on the tour that I can remember.
It's not the name you want to see on the pairings board, unless you are Tom Ross.
And then you see it every round on the pairings board.
It's nice.
Tom chooses to take the draw.
He's not a coward. This is the plan.
Asked him today whether he's playing any ensnaring bridges in his deck. And he just said, bridges for cowards.
He's not afraid. You know, he's going to lose some games. That's fine. Everybody loses some games.
That, for the record, that was the entirety of the conversation.
Oh, you're not going to get more out of Tom.
Said, all right, he's not playing ensnaring bridge. He'll play the Rack on turn 1. This time Jake had a much more reasonable first turn. It was just land Memnite. Though a lot of times these stat of Affinity, it means their second turn is going to do something impressive.
Yeah, you got to figure it's going to be one of the payoff cards, be it Arcbound Ravager, Steel Overseer.
Sure.
Cranial Plating.
Here is Cranial Plating. Mox Opal. There we go. Equip. Swing. That's going to be for 4. Tom down to 16. Still 3 cards in hand for Jake, so not going to take damage yet off the rack.
Strong start. If Tom had a smallpox here, it'd be very good.
Tom just says go. He missed his second land drop. Drew a copy of the rack. Looks like he's not going to play it, though. He has a Funeral Charm that he's holding up. Here's Arcbound Ravager for Jake. Tom may respond.
If you had Funeral Charm, you'd want to take care of the Memnite in response. Yeah, one thing about the rack is this 8-rack deck plays a ton of 1-mana spells, so it makes keeping these 1-landers pretty inviting. Though things can get awkward if you don't hit that second land.
Funeral Charm will hit the Memnite, and now Arcbound Ravager resolves. It's a nice window here for Tom to resolve a Smallpox if he can hit that land, though. Well, I was going to say that before Jake played Signal Pest.
Yeah, much less nice now.
Tom misses the land again, draws Bantu's Last Reckoning.
Yeah, the highest point on his mana curve.
Yeah, I mean, if the good news here, right, is that if he gets running lands, this is still a pretty good start for him. He does just pass, though. Dismember moved to the front.
Dismember, you're grateful that you can cast it on 1. Sometimes on turn 1 you really just need to be interactive. But when you're getting into turn 3, 4, and on, paying 4 life to Dismember is very unfortunate.
Cranial Plating will be moved to the Signal Pest. Jake's going to make another Signal Pest.
And the spread of the plating versus the Ravager means that so Tom, if Jake wants, is going to take a bunch of damage in this combat.
Yeah, so here's the attack with Battle Cry. Theme counting 5 artifacts in play, so the Signal Pest is attacking for 5 and the Ravager for 2.
With that second Signal Pest and certainly the Blink Moth Nexus and the Mana base as well that threatens lethal in the following turn. Tom goes for the Dismember there, targets a Signal Pest. Got to figure that one's getting eaten by the Ravager.
Sure.
And Tom still takes 7 in this exchange. Ravager attacking for 3 now. Tom pays 4 for the Dismember.
So he'll be down to 12 off the Dismember and then 9 from the Ravager. Draws. Looks like he misses land again, and that may just be the end of it.
Yeah, draws Inquisition of Kozilek. That one doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you see, he knows it too. He extends the hand. So it's going to be Jake Wentz with Affinity. A quick 2-0 win over Tom Ross.